So, I want to talk a little bit today about spiritual safety. So, as a psychic medium, I feel like I've encountered all different people dealing with all different, scary things. And so, these would be my best tips I could possibly give you guys. So, for one, just in general, usually most people, we keep a pretty high vibration, unless you're doing things that regularly take down mental or physical health. Those are the things that take down vibration. Typically, we keep it pretty high vibration, but you do see when people practice something that's regularly bad for them, mentally or physically, over time it can lower vibration. What I've noticed, especially with clients who are addicts, alcoholics, long-term drug users, because if you keep a pretty high vibration, you're usually out of the realm of those types of beings. They can't access you as well. There's things you can do that I'm going to get into to be extra safe, but people who are long-term, like alcoholics, they can sometimes lower their vibration so much regularly that they can encounter more of these like lower astral beings and get things like attachments and things like that. But I just want to say, typically most people are pretty safe as long as you follow some of these safety things. So the first thing I would always suggest, and I know it sounds so basic, but when you meditate, when you're doing spiritual work, always a good idea to shield. And I have all my students do that in all my courses. And I always just do it before I meditate. And it's also a good idea to ask, if there are any beings or energies here that are not serving me, they're not good for me, I command you to leave. And you want to do it with authority, no fear. Also, in case you feel like it's, late at night and you're getting spooked out and you feel like there might be a presence. Doesn't happen often, but it can happen. With full authority, no fear. I don't know why. Somehow fear takes away from it, your authority in that. With full authority, just command that I want no beings here that mean me harm. And if you're firm about it and you're confident in it, they do have to listen to you. So typically, unless you're inviting them in, they will go. The next thing I want to suggest, if you're using any sort of divination device, like a pendulum, right? It is best, or you're using, dowsing rods, or even cards, like even tarot cards, it is best to put up a shield. And then I would suggest this even with the pendulum, because you can get trickster spirits. I would suggest asking the questions in your head and asking them either to your higher self or your own personal spirit guide team. You can get and invite in trickster spirits if you're just asking whoever, and whoever could just show up and answer your questions for you, but you don't know the intentions of other beings. But you can always, unless you're very experienced, unless you feel like you would immediately know the difference in energy between a trickster spirit or your own guides, unless you feel extremely confident in that, I would suggest just everyone. You can ask angels, you can ask your own personal spirit guides, and you can ask your higher self. I wouldn't venture just to start asking like Hecate or ask whoever wants to talk unless you feel very, very practiced and comfortable in that sort of thing. And I just think any old person getting into spirituality, please just ask your own guides. Just because I see a lot of people asking the pendulum, any old being. Unless you feel very confident that you can distinguish if that being is a trickster, don't do it. And then last, I just want to say, you don't need to have a lot of fear around, the unknown, the spirit world. It's very natural. We're all part of it. And sometimes just having the best intentions when you go into meditation, I'm hoping just to connect with, higher beings, clearing your space with, incense. It's always just a good idea as spiritual hygiene to just clear your space. Even in a week where you have stress and, maybe you go through something hard, that energy lingers in your space. It's always a good idea to, light a candle, mentally imagine white light in the space, cleanse it, or just go around. I do it occasionally with some incense, and I incense my whole house, and I put in my intentions of what I want to create the space. I want this to be a high vibrational space. I want this to be a safe place. I welcome, my own personal guides here. But anyone who is not that vibe, you are not welcome here and never come back again. So I hope this helps. If you guys have any more questions, like about anything more specific, feel free to leave it in the comments. But yeah, safe connecting with the spirit world.